Beerzerker. All right. English bitter, 5.5%. From the High River Brewing Company. And it's not too cold. Wasn't sure if it was going to be a nitro beer or not. That smells all right. So this is bitters. Not meant to be drank too warm. So this has been out for a few hours out of the fridge. A little darker than I was maybe expecting, but it's not that strict of a style. Oh. Okay. This is Mike's brew. Mike's from jolly old England. So I've never had a beer from High River, but he's English and he's brewing bitters. So that's cool. But I also brew bitters out of my second running. So Mike, I know what good bitters taste like. So it's got a wet, minerally like penny, like copper aroma, and mouthfeel like a wet. You know what I mean? The penny taste and smell. It's kind of getting the dark malt. It's kind of nutty. It's dry, kind of dry and wet mouthfeel, but dry, not too sweet of a beer. But it's a little bit sweet. It's not. I'd say in the middle. It's not a real dry. It's different than what I brew. Mine's much paler, and I use USO4. This does not taste like USO4, but they don't all use the same yeast over there with the bitters from brewery to brewery to brewery to region. This has to be a light, not too high ABV, hoppy, English hops like Goldings, Fuggles, that type of thing. I'd say it's a little maltier than I was expecting, a little darker, but I have seen this for this style. It's good. It's good. It's not what I brew, and that's okay. I like it. Like I said, I wasn't. They make the Boddingtons, and it's a nitro beer. So when I opened it, I wasn't sure. Like, hey, but I didn't hear a widget rattling around in there. So absolutely. Okay, no heads. Absolutely crushable beer. Little malty for my taste, but it's. I don't think that's. It's a little bit outside what I brew for bitters, but I just use for my second runnings, right? And then I jack it up with a little bit of sugar, and use EKG, Fuggles, and Challenger, and USO4. And if it's stout, you get English, you get Northern Dark Mild. If a second running from like an IPA or something like that, it's going to be an ESB, more of a golden color. I don't usually get one this color, but you could. I guess the Northern Dark Mild would be somewhere in that neighborhood. Yeah, different. I was expecting different. With this, whenever I try bitters from a different place, it's always got definitely its own You know, it's not like Pilsner where they're all kind of in the same. Like there's a little bit of variance from beer to beer. So yeah, I can't. It's very wet, very crushable. It's good beer. It's a little bit nuttier and maltier than what I would go for in this, but hey, you got, you know, you could brew 4 different versions of this. As for a rate, I won't go too high on it because, I don't know. I'm not really tasting a whole lot of flaws, but I don't know. And here's the problem with this style. It's almost like you need to go to England and go pub surfing and check out the original ones, because you'd be surprised some of that old English beer, like the Shepherd Neame & Co. from the oldest brewery, when you actually drink it, it's not necessarily what... Just because we can brew better beer now, I know some people hate that, but like say the Shepherd Neame & Co., the whatever the one that I fucking had, it's basically malt liquor. It's really malty, mash hot, malty, higher ABV, not real high. Well, I think it was the IPA. So the original IPA was like Old English 800. It wasn't like what we think of as even an English IPA that we make now, if you know what I'm saying. Like if you brew an IPA with SO4 and you dry hop with EKG, and who the hell even knows from brewery to brewery what the IPA was actually like in the era when IPA first came about. It's probably more like the Shepherd Neame & Co. stuff. It's probably more like Old English 800, right? Which is kind of what this is like, because it is slightly maltier because of the taxation rules. They mashed the shit out of the barley as much as they could to get like every last bit of flavor and sugars out of the mash. So this probably is more appropriate than what I brew, which is dry, and SO4 just happens to be my favorite yeast for this. But you know, people get sick of it because it's such a staple homebrew yeast that people want to try different things. This might be some cool strain. I'd like to know. I didn't read the whole can because, you know, I don't know what strain of yeast this is, but I'm pretty sure it's not SO4. I mean, if it is and it's mashed warmer or whatever, it doesn't taste like it. But there's several English strains of beer that would be appropriate for these bitters that I haven't tried. Anyway, the more I'm drinking it, the more I'm liking it. It is, I do like the copper taste to it is kind of neat. I don't mind that. And then the carbonation's perfect. It's good. It's not real. It could even be warmer yet than what I'm drinking. It is kind of cool, like a real cold basement or cellar temperature right now. Super crushable though. A little different. It is a little bready, a little bit more malt forward, and so there's a lot of flavor, but it is crushable, so it's good. I gotta give this shit. I don't know. That's tough. That's a tough one. I give it 7.5 out of 11. And it could be better than that or worse. I'm just having a hard time really putting a rate on this. It's definitely worth trying. And in the whole 4-pack, it's good because it is a session beer. So you're not going to like be pissed that you bought the whole 4-pack, right? Because these go down pretty good. They're an easy drinking beer, like a Boddington's or whatever, even though I don't really consider that, like, I mean, it maybe is an ESB or whatever, but nitro beer is this fucking old thing. But this is good. I'm enjoying the beer. I'm going to give it 7.5 out of 11. I consider that a pretty good rate. I think that you could rate it higher depending on personal taste, but I'll throw mine in here and just go 7.5, which is still pretty good marks. It's just I've had lots of beers like this that are like the nutty kind of malty, and that's just not my personal. I like beers generally a little more dry, even if they're high ABV. Damn, I don't know. It tastes like Tourist Town craft beer in a way, because it's just It's just a little bit light on the hops, but the hops do taste good. There's like you are getting the earthiness out of them. It's just a different, a whole different bag of a lot of the ESBs I've tried and the ones that I make. It is different. But there is probably a bunch of this in England. If you were to go there, there's probably a bunch that are similar to this, maybe. Yeah, I don't know. That's a tough. This is a hard one to rate. It really is. I'm sure they can get better because I've brewed some that I think I like. Because when I do mines, I don't really know how much is in there from second runnings, and I just kind of guesstimate because I've already brewed a beer, so I'm tired, so I don't want to like measure everything and get out the hydrometer and all that shit. Even though you should if you're doing second runnings and dropping sugar in. That is when I normally get my hydrometer out actually, but sometimes I don't. And I guess you brew a boozy thin one, and you put in way too many hops. And that's not, you can, especially with the Challenger, that's such a potent hop, you can really over hop it. Yeah, this bitters is great, so I'm glad they're doing it because there's not enough of this. Everyone's brewing a New England, IPA. The hazies, they're everywhere. It's too much. Like this is good to have. I wish more people brewed bitters and porters. And even fucking just regular ass stout. You think that there would be lots of that around, like in the cans and bottles at the liquor store? There's not. Well, there's a little bit, but there's not much. You think that there'd just be like a bunch of fucking like oatmeal stout and like English style stout and Irish stout, which is just fucking Guinness, I guess. But I would like to have Irish stout with carbonation, but I guess the nitro is the Irish style. When you look into it, it's weird. The Irish beer styles I keep looking into, and they're weird. Because I think because of the potato famine, they weren't fucking around having the luxury to experiment with all the beer styles in the 1800s, like the way the English were a little bit more, because of the economic situation. So like they were like any barley they got, they were eating or whatever, right? So when the beer styles did come about, they're not as plentiful as the English styles, you know, and plus hops were generally maybe more so in England still. So there's the Irish beer styles. There's just not that many, to be truthful about that. Because I have looked into it. Because I like these styles of beers, these British Isle styles. Great. The more I'm drinking it, I don't know. Damn. Whew, whew, whew. Yeah, I could see getting used to this, and especially if like your neighborhood, and you're just like, this is what you're used to. Yeah, you could really get to liking this type of thing. Yeah, it's. I'm gonna bump it up to 8 out of 11. That's pretty good, even though I'm not a. It's a little bit. The maltiness is a little bit. But that's what makes it round and wet tasting and like that. So it's just like, no, what I'm used to. It's great. Yeah, I have this 8 out of 11. This is a good beer. So looking forward to trying more shit from High River. So hopefully they did have some more. Hopefully they brew a stout or something, you know, or something other than New England hazies, which is a great style, by the way. Fantastic style, and I guess that's why everyone's doing it. But I mean, geez, we don't. And I personally just like the old school West Coast IPAs, really. There's nothing wrong with that style. They don't all have to be hazies either. Fuck. 8 of 11, fucking awesome beer. Beerzerker, and I'm out. Yeah.